CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And off the top, taking a live look outside a beautiful South Florida day, and it's warming up again. Next, weather meteorologist Cindy Pressler joins us now. So will this last until the weekend?
Yes, it is going to take us into the weekend and bring these temperatures up, up, up. Right now, 79, but it was up to 82 this afternoon in Miami. We've got an easterly wind. It's gusting up to 20, so it's a little bit breezy at times, and those waters are choppy along the beaches as well. But this is what's next. Warming up continually into the weekend. It's mainly going to be dry as well. Another weak cold front gets here by Monday, but this one will have very little moisture to work with, so not likely we're going to see much rain out there. But the big story today is it is now the end of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season, so we did quite well here in South Florida. It was an above average season, so it was a busy season with 20 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. 4th busiest on record, but we haven't had, at least South Florida has not been in a cone since 2014, so that's good. Of course, we had a Dahlia earlier in the season, but it was up in the Panhandle. But these are the named storms. We made it up to Tammy as a Category 2 hurricane and left out the last 2 names, but that is now over for the season. At least officially, it now has come to an end. 79 degrees here, Homestead 77. What a beautiful Thursday it is with that easterly flow. We're expecting partly cloudy skies tonight. A few clouds out there, fair weather clouds. The air is very dry, so there is no rain, not expecting any. Temperatures tonight will be dropping into the upper 60s and lower 70s, so it's warming up even in the overnight hours. Last night, down to 62 here in Miami. We're expecting lows to drop into the 70s for overnight lows tonight. A little bit cooler as you get into the inland areas. The Keys, of course, temperatures bottoming out at about 74, 75 degrees, but overall, the trend is for warming up and a dry conditions. High pressure in control. We've got an east and then eventually a southeasterly flow. So over the next couple of days, that'll start to bring in just a little bit more humidity. So a spot shower along the coast, not out of the question. It could happen. Then we'll wait for that next cold front, a weak cold front. This one comes in on Monday. Behind it, the winds will turn back to a northerly direction again, those cooler temperatures, but I just don't think we're going to see much rain out of it. Even though our moisture does continue to increase a little bit over the weekend, we'll give it about a 10% chance for a spot shower here and there. So here's your forecast. Look for a high tomorrow of 84 degrees. So our temperatures come up. We're going to see mid-80s heading into the weekend, and then next week cooling back down again into the mid to upper 70s.
All right. Thank you, Cindy. And as we mentioned, hurricane season officially ends today. Don't miss Chief Meteorologist Ivan Cabrera and the Next Weather team as they break down the season and its impact during a special presentation on the CBSMiami.com stream. Watch tonight at 8 on our homepage, Pluto TV, or wherever you stream our local newscasts. Now at 4, the Sunny Isles Beach mother accused of abusing her child will go to trial. Her attorney appeared in court during today's arraignment via Zoom. The judge set aside a day for the trial to start on February 20th of next year. The mom was caught on a Ring camera pushing her 3-year-old son to the ground and then repeatedly kicking him. She has been ordered not to have any contact with her child. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating a deadly police shooting in Southwest Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade police say it all started when someone reported a stolen vehicle. They responded to the area of Southwest 182nd Avenue and 192nd Street. Officers spotted a car as they approached investigators. The suspect pulled out a gun and shots were fired. The suspect died at the scene. No officers were hurt. A man arrested following an investigation into an assisted living facility appeared in court today. Otto Ogia faced multiple charges, including operating an assisted living facility without a license. His bond is set at $6,500. The assisted living facility is at Southwest 122nd Avenue and 207th Street. Investigators say there have been several instances where they've had to respond to that location this year. The future of that facility is unclear at this time. Florida lawmakers are looking to honor the life of Gabby Petito. It's with legislation to strengthen domestic violence prevention efforts here in Florida. The proposed Gabby Petito Act would require law enforcement to complete an assessment during domestic violence investigations. As you might recall, Petito was found dead in September of 2021 in a forest. It was days after she was reported missing. Hamas freed more hostages today. It's hours before the latest extension in the Israel-Hamas ceasefire was set to expire. CBS News Miami's Natalie Brand joins us live from Washington, D.C., and she has the latest details. Natalie.
Hi, Naja. And U.S. citizens are not expected to be released today as part of the latest round of hostages freed. That means up to 8 Americans are still unaccounted for. Their families desperately waiting for answers, including a family in Sarasota. Now, overall, since this pause began, around 100 hostages have been released so far. We have new video this afternoon of one of those emotional reunions. 21-year-old Mia Shem ran into her mother's arms Thursday night. She was one of the hostages Hamas released on the 7th day of the temporary ceasefire. But new violence has heightened tensions. Israeli police said 3 people were killed in a shooting at a bus stop in Jerusalem. Hamas claimed responsibility. The attack came a day after Palestinian officials said Israel Defense Forces killed 2 boys during a raid in the West Bank.
We're reminded yet again by the events in Jerusalem today of the threat from terrorism that Israel and Israelis face every single day.
During his 4th trip to Israel since the October 7th attacks, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken pushed to extend the pause in fighting.
This process is producing results. It's important, and we hope that it can continue.
Blinken also traveled to the West Bank and met with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. The White House says the 2 men discussed efforts to surge humanitarian assistance into Gaza and discussed improving the security and freedom for Palestinians in the West Bank. In Gaza, where the Hamas-run media says the fighting has destroyed more than 60% of homes, Palestinians took advantage of the lull in airstrikes to shop for food and supplies. This man says people are scared of the fighting resuming. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed Thursday to continue the war until all the hostages are out and Hamas no longer poses a threat. Now, Secretary of State Blinken at a news conference a very short time ago said that 2 American citizens were wounded in that shooting attack at the bus stop in Jerusalem. Again, Hamas has claimed responsibility for that attack. And this week, Senator Marco Rubio and Nevada Senator, Democrat Jackie Rosen, held a video screening of raw footage of the October 7th attacks before a group of around 40 Senate colleagues. They said that they wanted fellow senators to have clear insight into what happened that day and keep in mind why. They say the U.S. needs to provide Israel with unwavering support to defeat Hamas and also secure the release of the remaining hostages. Naja.
Natalie, thank you for the very latest. And stay with CBS News Miami on air and online for new developments on the Israel-Hamas war. We'll bring you any new information as it happens. Stay with us. More news when we come back. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. The House of Representatives is expected to vote today or tomorrow on expelling George Santos. This will be the 3rd attempt to expel Santos. He faces 23 federal corruption charges. A report from the House Ethics Committee alleges Santos broke campaign finance laws. They say that he spent campaign money on Botox, shopping, and personal travel. He is now refusing to resign.
If I leave, they win. If I leave, the bullies take place. This is bullying. The chair of the committee putting out a motion to expel, just introducing it and not calling it privilege, was designed to force me to resign.
2/3 of the House must vote to expel Santos from Congress in order for him to lose his seat. Happening tonight, Governor Ron DeSantis and Governor Gavin Newsom will face off in a 90-minute debate. Fox News will moderate the debate in Georgia with no audience. It starts tonight at 9 p.m.
Miami Proud is presented by FPL. Learn more about Florida's energy future at fpl.com/value.
In this week's Miami Proud, we introduce you to a South Florida man who is truly giving back to the community. CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez has his report.
Winning the Kentucky Derby, I don't think there's very few feelings on earth that can replicate that kind of emotion and joy.
Miami native Ramiro Restrepo's dream came true in May when the horse he co-owns, Mage, won the Kentucky Derby.
You've had kings, emperors, government statesmen, you've had Fortune 500 businessmen, you've had actors, athletes, actresses, all who have owned racehorses with the ultimate goal and dream to win this race. And for you to be able to say that you were able to realize that dream, to have your family there with you, my uncles who dedicated 60 plus years of their lives to this business, you know, my mother who raised me in this business, and for us to be able to accomplish the dream of winning it, I mean, you can't even script it in a Hollywood story.
Restrepo's life could very well be an Oscar-winning film.
Grew up down here locally. The racetracks, Calder Racecourse, Hialeah Park, Gulfstream Racetrack, those are my, you know, they raised me. They were like my daycare centers, so I've been around the horses as I could crawl.
He says horse racing is in his DNA. He says everything he knows about horses he owes to his grandfather, who was in the horse business his whole life.
Being around the horses from such a young age, you just inherently absorb and pick up a lot of things that you watch them in action when they're working with the horses, and you know, it kind of helps develop your inner talent about being around with the racehorses.
And after watching Mage win the Kentucky Derby, this University of Miami alumni felt he had to share the wealth, donating a portion of the prize money to the Dwoskin Children's Cancer Research Fund at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center at UM.
I was blown away. We had lunch, and then he got involved and donated money to make this thing work quicker.
We all know when you're passionate about something, you just want to work that much harder at your trade, at your craft. You know, the good times, it's you know, the best feeling in the world, and then when there's challenges, that passion helps you overcome them and battle through them.
That's the CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Hope you are having a wonderful day. And stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami.